What's going on, sports fans? Welcome into the top 5 fantasy quarterbacks for the 2024 season. Now, this isn't going to be Dynasty. This is just redraft if you're starting up. And depending on your QB settings or however you do rushing yards in your league, these are who I will believe to be the top 5 quarterbacks in this year's season. Starting at number 5, I'm controversial. It's Kyler Murray. Dude is slept on and fully healthy. He got Marvin Harrison Jr. as a weapon. And the big thing is that I think the defense will have him playing from behind more than ahead, which means later in games he's going to have to use his legs, use his throwing ability to get his team back in the game. Where on the other side, if they have the lead, they can just hand off to James Conner and kind of eat that clock. He also has the rushing upside that a lot of guys don't have, and at least in my league and in most standard leagues, I think passing touchdowns are 4 points and rushing touchdowns are 6 points. So a QB with rushing ability that's able to get in the end zone that way is worth a little bit more than just a standalone guy in the pocket like Joe Burrow. Now this means that guys like Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, some of those other guys like CJ Stroud are off this list because I don't see them having as much of a rushing ability as these 5 guys. Now at number 4, I've got Patrick Mahomes. He's got a lot of new quick toys that he can throw the ball to, being Hollywood Brown, being Xavier Worthy, one of the fastest guys in the league, but he doesn't have as much of a rushing upside that Kyler Murray has or any of the guys above him, but he can make up for it by throwing to those speed demons and throwing for 40 touchdowns in the year. Now there's been some rumors of injuries and whatever Rashee Rice's legal issues are that are going on, which means that going into week 1 he probably has Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice as his best receivers, as well as, of course, did I mention he has Travis Kelce along his side. Now last year Mahomes was not really that good in fantasy. I think he was still a top 10 quarterback, maybe around the 8th or 9th area in standard PPR rankings, but this year with those 2 new quick weapons he should be able to take the top off of these defenses and be able to up his stance. Now number 3, I've got Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry should eat into a little bit of his carries. Zay Flowers breakout season, question mark. This could be a year where he goes for 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns-ish. Last year he had a solid rookie season. This year looking to improve on that. I don't really think Lamar has any other weapons to throw to, other than Mark Andrews, of course. But the big news with Lamar is that he is down 15 pounds. Now why is this a big issue? Last year we saw his rushing ability kind of not be as explosive as he was the year before. There's that key play in the playoffs against the Chiefs where he kind of ran out of bounds, where it looked like he could have broken away a couple years before. Now him being down 15 pounds, there's good and bad. He went up to 15 pounds, that way he was able to not get hurt as much, take more sacks, and kind of brush him right off. Whereas opposed now he's down 15 pounds, he's going to be more elusive, but that means that he's a little bit more fragile and able to get hurt on those hits. I still think that Lamar is going to be more explosive than ever, and I'm not here to make a list based off injury concerns, so that's why Lamar's number 3. And number 2, I do have Jalen Hurts. This guy has great weapons with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and now Saquon Barkley, as well as the tight end Dallas Goedert. Now he will still get goal line touches even though Saquon Barkley's there. If you look at last year, he had some of the most rushing touchdowns by any quarterback, but with Jason Kelce retiring, the QB sneak might not be as effective people are talking about, where the percentage might go from 94% to 78%. So still, it's a play you could bust out on 4th and 1 or maybe at the goal line, but they probably won't run it as much. But still, last year he was the QB2, even though he had a down season. The big stat I'm looking at is that last year he only had 2 rushes for over 20 yards. I think that this year he improves on that and he's able to run the ball a little bit better, especially with Saquon Barkley taking the attention off the defense. So I expect Jalen Hurts to run the ball a little bit more than he did last year, or at least a little bit better, even though he's got Saquon Barkley as a little bit of a decoy. And at number 1, I've got basically that guy that needs to be Superman this year. It's Josh Allen. I mean, if you look at how much better he was than every other quarterback last year, I think he had 10 or 11 more touchdowns than any other quarterback. Still didn't win MVP though. I know Lamar deserves it, right? But this guy had 10 more touchdowns. So fantasy MVP goes to Josh Allen. I think he needs to have a year like Superman Cam Newton in 2015 where they went to the Super Bowl. Basically, you look at the best receivers on that team. Who was it? Kelvin Benjamin and like Devin Funches or whoever it was. I don't even know who it was. Maybe it was like Ted Ginn. Whoever was on that Cam Newton Carolina Panthers team is basically what they have here with Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Curtis Samuel. Maybe like an old Steve Smith was on the team. I actually don't even remember. Now his best option right now is going to be James Cook as his number 1 wide receiver. Now I know Keon Coleman could break out, or maybe it's Khalil Shakir, or maybe it's Curtis Samuel, but he should still get a bulk of these goal line touches. Josh Allen runs for probably 15 touchdowns a year, which is almost 1 a game. I think he had maybe only had 10, 15 last year. I don't know, but he still runs the ball for a lot. And you look at the playoff game that we had against the Chiefs, I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns there as well. But with that being said, 5 through 1, it's Kyler, it's Mahomes, it's Lamar, it's Hurts, it's Allen. Now I know there should be guys like CJ Stroud on there that might still outscore them, but I'm looking for guys with rushing upside, and that's what I think all 5 of these guys, except for maybe Mahomes, gives you. With that being said, those are my thoughts on the top 5 fantasy quarterbacks. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, as we got the fantasy football season, we got the NFL season, we got college football season, and we got college football 25 all happening right now. So subscribe to get more content like that. But as always, the most important thing is to have a great day, and peace.